Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ceres Podcast. I'm Stelios, your host, and this is episode 228. Today, I'm joined by a good friend, Daniel Rosser. Daniel is the chef owner of Noah's in Bristol, and in this episode we discuss the discipline, and we go into why discipline trumps motivation in this episode, and I think it's really important. But we go into the discipline it takes to build a restaurant from scratch, the early struggles, the struggles that probably still exist, the position of this business that's under a flyover in Bristol, but how he's focused on simplicity and consistency, and he's turning Noah's into a local favourite. I've wanted to get Dan on for a while, but we just wanted to get some things under our belt first. Today's episode is brought to you by Ceres Heavy Duty Cleaning Products. Our newest addition is the Ceres Heavy Duty Descaler. It obliterates limescale really fast. It's safe on stainless steel and delicate parts. It's got a nice fresh odour, but aside from that, it's odourless. We add nothing to it. It's plant-based, antimicrobial, no fumes, no mess. It's also really good for your staff to handle this product. By that I mean it's not going to cause them any damage. It's safe, obviously with safe practices, but it's not going to eat through their shoes or eat through their clothing. It's not that bad. So grab yours at ceres.shop, free next day UK mainland delivery, and we also ship to Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, and all the British Isles. So go get it, and your Bain Marie, if it could talk, would thank you for it. Whilst you're there, check out our free Ceres calculators. Just punch in your numbers and get instant menu prices, portion sizes and margins. No spreadsheets, no guesswork. Everything at your fingertips. We've also freshened up all of our social media feeds. Our old Facebook discussion group is now a Facebook page. It just means we can separate all our news, slow down the traffic, and share updates in the right place. We also have a Ceres Newsfeed page, and the Ceres page still exists, but that will just be solely on product announcements, shipping announcements, and so and so. So get onto those pages. The links will be in the show notes. Finally, make sure, especially this time of year, that you're signed up to our WhatsApp announcement group, or even better, the Ceres mailing list. We've got loads of competitions coming, loads of offers coming. It's, Christmas is ahead of us now. We've got special giveaways lined up all the way from now till Christmas. You do not want to miss out. Last year, we had people messages after all these competitions say, well, I wasn't on the mailing list. Well, get on the mailing list. No spam, just good information delivered to you, whether it's news, competitions, offers, you name it. You'll find all the links in the show notes. Now, let's dive into today's episode with Daniel Rosser. Dan, welcome to the podcast.
Morning. How you doing? You okay?
Not bad, you?
Good, thanks, mate. Yeah, not bad.
We got over our technical challenges.
I know, yeah. I'm not the best with computers, mate. They just stick me in the kitchen.
There you go, you see. You should know your place, really. We should put the computer in the kitchen.
Maybe that'd be a good thing even, mate. Leave it out there. Leave it in front of house.
How was the holiday?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it was really good. It was amazing, actually. I think we went to San Sebastian. So really cool. We flew into Bilbao, drove up to San Sebastian. We booked 4 nights, I think it was. So we planned to do 3 in San Sebastian, 1 night in Bilbao, and do 2 days. But we got the top 10 news, and our Zoom call was on the Monday.
Yeah.
So we cut short and flew back. So it was only a short trip, but amazing to see. I think when you go places like that and you start to see how simple they keep it, and just the ingredients amazing, and just the whole.
I guess many would think that restaurants in San Sebastian would be overcomplicating things, whereas actually they probably strip it back, don't they?
I think they strip it back. I think honestly, I think like sometimes here you think, oh, I could do this, do that, and then you get a dish, and they just literally like some of the bars there. And I don't know if it's because of social media nowadays that it's blown up because it's always been like a hub for food. It's been amazing, yeah. But I think for me, like obviously a lot of influencers have been there, a lot of people have been there. Got to try here, got to try there. But like this one place we went, I think it's Bar Nectar. It's called. It's famous for the tortilla, famous for the steak, padron, and tomato salad. And that's it. And literally, tomato salad is like the best tomatoes, and it's just seasoned well with salt, olive oil. That's it. Yeah. And it's just bloody amazing. And the steak, you queue up at 11:30 in the morning. Well, they do 2 sittings, but you queue up at 11:30 in the morning. You put your name down. First 16 get tortilla if they want it. And then they have a certain amount of steaks per day. And you literally order it through the window. They tell you to come back at 1:45. And you sit down and you have tortilla, steak, salad, padron. That's it. Yeah. It's amazing. And then just wine. And the price is brilliant. It's amazing.
I do think, I think that you mentioned tomato. I think in the UK, I love the UK for lots of things. And there's lots of things that bother me about the UK. But one of the things that bothers me is how fucking insipid tomatoes are. I'm from Cyprus originally. My family's from Cyprus. I love Italy. Sure. Tomatoes in Cyprus are Italy. And from what I've been told, Spain are absolutely amazing. Tomatoes in lots of the warmer parts of the Middle East are amazing, Jordan and so on, and yet the UK. And I guess it's where they're dependent, but I think they don't even import, really good tomatoes. You don't find good tomatoes in lots of places. And
no, exactly. But I just think you go into a menu and it's like this, and there it's just like, do you want a tomato? Do you want the tomato salad? And it comes out and it's just like amazing olive oil and tomatoes and salt, and it just like, wow, it works. And you're eating a steak that's heavy and that's clean, and it's just like. And they become famous for it. And it's just like, you do one thing well, you do one thing really well, and consistently good with it, they've become famous for it.
Do you think that's the thing amazing, that we don't have maybe that discipline, or maybe customers don't appreciate that in the UK, that one place could just do one thing? Like you see it in parts of Italy, you see it in parts of Cyprus, you see it in Japan a lot as well, where one person will master a craft. I was watching this video once about a chap in Japan and his friend actually, and one guy, all he made was noodles, nothing else. He didn't all he made was one type of noodle, and the other guy, his mate, all he did was one type of grilled mackerel. That's all he did. Yeah. And you think that he was a master of that craft. And whereas over here, we sort of we add things constantly. We're always trying to, and I don't know, is that because
I don't know. Do you know what? I think sometimes the simplest things are the hardest to achieve.
Yeah.
I think, because if you think if you walk into when you start off, you got your ideas, you're buzzing, and you got I'm going to do this, and then you get smacked in the face, the reality of everything that comes challenging with it, and then to stay consistent with what you're trying to achieve when it's not really happening for you is really difficult to stay disciplined in that. And I think if you look at this place, okay, I queued up and there's a queue of 40 people, The day one, they didn't start like that, did it?
No.
So, but to stay disciplined and to get known for that, and now they've got that, and then to maintain that and stay with that, I think that takes a skill level in itself. To be that confident that that's what we're good at and that's what we're doing, and we're not changing, and we're not going to divert, we're not going to do this, we're just going to get known for this, is the most genius thing to do. Because I think if you could be known for the best bacon sandwich. If you do a really good bacon sandwich, everyone's going to come. If you get known, okay, best fish and chips, or you get known to be in the area to serve the best fish and chips, people come to you. And I think it's having the discipline to stay with your vision and belief in that, and when it's happening, a lot of people will be like, "Wow, it's amazing."
I think
I think I'm right in saying
no, I think so too, and
I
think you're right, and I think discipline is more important than motivation. Motivation's short-lived. Motivation's that initial spark that, I've got this great idea on Monday, and then you have a bad day on Tuesday, and it starts to wane a little bit, and you have a bad day on Wednesday, and you think, "Oh, fuck this, can't be arsed anymore," and then, I'm going to change course. And whereas discipline is, having your eyes set on target and saying, all right, I'm going to trundle through this every day until I get to where I need to be. And it's interesting you mentioned discipline about restaurants in San Sebastian, because I was thinking about you and discipline, and mostly about Noah's and how, you started Noah's It's
Yeah.
underneath a fly pass. Most people
Yeah.
wouldn't bat an eyelid at it before you did. In fact, it was closed for a while, wasn't it? But before,
Yeah. Yeah, it was a trucker's calf.
yeah, trucks, and and it was
Proper greasy spoon.
And my dad would love a proper greasy spoon. He loves that.
Yeah.
But you had tough times, and
Yeah.
at the early days, and what we'll get into that. But initially, like if we just focus on the discipline, like how did you stay focused on saying, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm serving the best fish and chips I can, the best seafood I can, and we've got to do this every day, even though it's quiet, even though people don't know we're here. How did you initially at the beginning just focus through that?
I think it's look, I've been through some good restaurants, worked in some good places. I've got friends that I can call on that help keep you when your head's going a bit like bloody hell, it's not happening here. They keep you like it will. Just keep persistent, keep with it, keep thing. It takes time, and then you're balancing what your principles, your bills, because you got to pay them, with time, and really, look, restaurants or food venues, whether you're a takeaway, it doesn't matter. Food, I believe, hospitality venues grow through reputation and word of mouth, and that's your most key of marketing. You can do whatever you want, but you have to stay consistent with your product, your belief, the journey you're on, no matter how tough it gets. And then the different situations to manage. So like even just going in the same principles, like looking after the oil and the product in a different way when you're quieter, but when you're busy, it's almost like not a problem. You've got to stay on top of it. So, I mean, look. I was looking at it in the early days, saying, look, like Dad's obviously got Scallop Shower and Bath. Mitch has got seals and rockfishes. Fred's doing well down, like in Bournemouth is an amazing place, incredible. And I think the oyster shell did well. And I'm thinking, look, I know that we're producing good stuff, so it's just got to take time.
Yeah.
Hopefully it takes time. Hopefully it takes time. But then time. One thing I learned as well is you have to. It's not just going to happen as well. Like you have to find the answers to how it's going to happen. And then once you get a light, you grab it with both hands and you push off that light in theory. And I don't know when that light comes around. It just does. Like you get a bit of luck, everyone says like everyone needs luck. You do, you make your own luck, and you do need that luck.
You do need some wind in your sails, there's no doubt. And
exactly.
And let's not poo-poo motivation, and discipline is key. But all of those things together, you start to make your own luck, don't you? And in preparation yesterday, I was chatting to a friend of ours about this podcast, and he said to me, he says one thing about Dan that impressed me. He says that he did stick to those hard decisions. He didn't say, I'm going to buy a cheaper batter, I'm going to buy cheaper potatoes, I'm going to buy cheaper crab. It was, this is what we're doing. We've got a level of service that we're going to maintain. It's going to be hard, but we're going to get through it. And I think to a lot of people that are setting up a business, I always say to them, you've got to have a minimum level of expectation and never go below it. Yeah. And hopefully it's somewhere where customers love it, because it is tough running a business and it's really hard starting a business from nothing. And what a lot of people probably don't appreciate fully straight away. And again, I talk to a lot of range manufacturers, and they'll say to me, when they're quoting for a frying range, everyone's like, well, it's really busy on a Friday, so I need X amount of pans. Friday, Saturday, Friday. And this one range manufacturer said to me, but I always turn around and say to them, but what about a Monday? What about a Tuesday? Yeah. Because if you've got a range setup that's only geared up for the peak, then you're going to have trouble at the bottom end. And
exactly.
And I think you've touched on it. It is harder running a business when it's quiet. You've got to be more on top of your oil management. If you had Fridays 6 days a week, you wouldn't have any problems, would you?
You'd be living the dream, wouldn't you? And then you'd be moaning, it's so busy. But it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, you'd probably be like, my oils are too pale all the time. I can't maintain good oil quality. And it'd be the other problem, though. I do think that, I sort of take my hat off to the fact that you have that discipline and you've stuck to it. And like you say, you've got a lot of people that you reach out to. And I think that's really important, having a network of people that have your back, because it is lonely running a business on your own.
Yes, it's really not easy. I mean, those early, geez, like we we put just over half a million into Noah's. And it didn't mean to go that way. It's just you were on the journey, and next thing it's just where it's gone to. And what you do, stop 3/4 of the way through. Like, you got to see it through. And then you go like, well, look, I've worked in places like I feel confident in myself that I can execute what I want. I think like Dad's Scallop Shell's strong. You know, like the covers they're banging out is like insane. You look at people like Fred, who like is, in my opinion, the best operator in fish and chips that I've seen. You look at Rockfish is growing well. There's some fantastic Richard Orr, all those guys, you know, all doing really well. That took time to build, but it didn't happen for us. It was really mad. Like Bristol just didn't like it in the first 10 months. 10 months was the toughest time in my life, and I'm really glad it happened to me because it knocks you. Sorry, I'm probably going ahead and think. We literally like when Dad. So we opened, when I come back from Singapore, we opened the oyster shell, and the oyster shell was completely the opposite. And to be fair, scallop shell was kind of the opposite. But I think when we opened the scallop shell, it was so unique in its own right at that time, that period of time. And Dad obviously built a reputation as a chef in Bath in the southwest before that, and we built the fishmongers before that, and fish and chip shop in White Row. So all stepping stones that help give you that push at the start. Where we came to Bristol, no one has a clue who we are. No one knows what Noah's is because it's in the Scallop Shell brand, and they wouldn't even know. I'm not sure they'd know the Scallop Shell brand. It might have got momentum quicker. You're literally like you're on your own, and different dynamics, different city, different people. Different,
it's worth noting
so many elements, you know.
What again, anybody listening to this who's not from Bristol, what they might not realise is that Bristol probably has the largest food scene outside of London. I don't think that's an exaggeration either. I genuinely don't think.
No, not so.
Like when we come to Bristol a lot and we frequent Noah's, as you know, but there's also a lot of choice. Like, I mean, there is, you know. So, and I remember saying to Fred when he was really excited when I don't want to give away anything he said, but I'll tell you what I said. But he was really excited when he found out that you were opening in Bristol back then.
Sure.
And I said, Fred, just so you know, because I didn't think he knew a lot about Bristol. I said, Bristol's hard, mate. I said,
it's tough,
like I said, you know, there is the best of every restaurant in Bristol. I said, I'm not saying they can't make it. I said, I just think it'll be hard. And I said, I don't knock them for that because I know they're used to hard. Yeah, everything I know about your dad, he's never been afraid of hard.
No.
And your mum. So that was never an issue for me. But I just knew that Bristol. But once you do make it in Bristol, from what I understand, once you set yourself, and I think you probably have now, like you've gone through maybe the hardest slog. I'm not saying you're out of the woods or anybody's out of the woods. I don't think any business is ever out of the woods. But you know, once you find that relevance, once people start to love it and know where you are, everything sort of starts to turn a little bit in Bristol.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like that's what I was saying earlier. Once you get that little light, you have something to grab onto.
Yeah, and
then you have to grab that with both hands and build off that. And look, Bristol's that's what I'm saying. So Bath is a World Heritage City, full of tourists and affluent people, like stereotypically affluent people. Obviously, it's not all like that. We grew up in Bath as well, and I'm from Bath, from a council estate in Bath, and I think so. We know the other side of Bath as well. Like every town and city's got that, you know. But I think one thing, I think Bristol is 6 times the size of Bath, let's say. But a very working class city.
Yeah,
it's full of amazing restaurants and some amazing chefs. It's got, I mean, the time we started, my wife Joey working out front, the amount of restaurants the guests started to, have you tried here yet? 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 I mean, I could count on my hands how many independent good restaurants there are in Bath. In Bristol, the list goes on. We haven't even got through them yet, you know. And,
I was going to say you could probably frequent one twice a day for a year and still not touch them all.
It's unbelievable, but in some ways you got to use that as a positive and not a negative, because actually I think in most cities every profession has their own community, and actually the hospitality scene in Bristol is actually fairly tight. They're all very helpful, lovely people. All took us, like, grabbed us with, like, anyone that I've asked to help or this, like, been fantastic, you know. Someone like Josh Eckerton, like, he's got Soul Malt and literally gets us involved, does this, does that. He's a brilliant guy, Toby in the pump house. Oh, you need to help with this. Oh, do you know someone who, even someone to fix the machinery, do this, do that. Yeah, here's a number, here's this, here's that. They want you to succeed with them. They want Bristol to stay the hub, but to try and get yourself going in this city, like any city, it's tough, it wasn't easy.
And customers are fickle because they have got so much choice at their fingertips. They can go anywhere, and that's why your determination, whether it was intentional or not, or whether you just didn't know any other way, just to be determined, it's actually in some ways paid off, because every time someone comes in and it's another notch in your belt, if they come in 3 times and this is great, they become routine and that's it. And I think, whereas if one of those times you decided, well, I'm having a crap day, I'm pissed off, I'm just going to do it slightly worse today. I know no one really decides it like that. It's for effect, obviously.
I'd say look, this is what I went through at the start. Bang, you do your opening, you're on a massive high. There's no better buzz than that. You invite everyone to the opening, then you open the doors. Everyone gives you a try, or some people give you a try. You're new on the block, You get your local reviewers in. Some looked after us, some didn't, if I'm honest, and not in a bad way. But I think the way they compared us, we got compared to a takeaway 10 years ago on the South Coast, and that we're expensive, and they don't know what we are yet. And it's fucking hell, geez, you're supposed to give us a chance here. We're not a takeaway on the South Coast 10 years ago, and I don't think that was that. And then there was another one who's a fan of the scallop shell, and then said they were pissed off that there's no lobster, this, that. They don't even fucking season for lobster. So it's not even they spoke to me and said oh, I thought you'd have this or that. Yeah, it's well, not even that. It's just it's not even in season, and you're going to pay stupid money. I've just opened the doors. I'm not going to bang lobster on the menu. I need to. You got to build and earn the right to use produce like that. You can't just. Or you, it's sweet. I'm just saying, it was a bit bang bang. The only one who really gave us a chance not the only one who gives us a chance, but the one who really put us on the map in Bristol was a guy called Mark Taylor, and fantastic guy, lovely guy, really well known. He lives in Bristol, but well known in the national critics as well, old school. And he came in. Do you know what? He balanced it so nicely for me, and sort of said this place could be a great little gem. I'm really excited what it's going to grow into. This or this, this or this. Went through my background a little bit and said, I'm really excited to see what Nose will become. And that was it. After that, we had people come through the door. And that was a little bit of luck, I'd always be grateful to Mark for that. And he helped us out. Maybe we'll get onto that a bit later, but he helped us out with another little bit of luck coming through with what really pushed Nose into the limelight and really put us on the map, But
just to give people a framing of we all talk about determination, we say all these big words and
sure.
But how close do you think you probably come to the fork in the road where it could have easily gone the other way?
Well, gone down.
Yes.
Or
closure.
Easy,
yeah.
How closure? Yeah. Well, we took a view on it and said, look, it works as a greasy spoon, a good cafe. Yeah. So if it don't work as fish and chips, we believe it will. But and it actually got to a point where we did 2 on a Monday night. That was fucking hell. Honestly, it can't be this bad. It can't be 2 people all fucking night on a Monday. I mean, you're demoralised yourself, let alone you're looking at your staff and they're just you're fucking out, you're trying to keep them going as well, and it's going to happen, guys. I put
what's it like?
And I think, well, we look, the business side of things comes into it then, doesn't it? So you got your overheads you got to pay. And we remember sat with Dad on table 7 and just strip back all the overheads and how tight can we take this? So we're closed Monday, we're closed Tuesday, can't afford to close from Wednesday, so we do Wednesday to Sunday. And we need to take this per day in order to cover the overheads. And if we can just survive and then get through till, I think that was in September in the first year. If I remember right, September, it was September, October. It was around that sort of time. If we can get through until February, March, then at least we've got summer coming through. But then we're going to have to make a call on it. There's no point going through all this for it not to work. It's just we might as well just go and get a job somewhere, for the sake. But really, it was just saying we gave it everything. We're giving it everything. The time is not balancing with the bills, and we're going to have to take it on the chin, and it is what it is. But the Mark gave us the thing. The second thing that really gave us our chance was the fish chip awards, and that was the biggest light. And that's what I'm saying. I think, look, I was really in two minds of whether to go for that, because one, we were only open, I think, 6 months at that period of time. I think it was 6 months, 7 months. Like, I was happy where we were. Like, I was happy with what we were producing, but do I think we were the best? No chance. Like, do you think we were at Nave Red and Richard and people? No chance. Like, we were 7 months old, you know. But we actually got third in the country, and that was the biggest luck, biggest bit of luck, and biggest. Well, you make your own luck. We entered the competition, you know.
But it was a light that got shown on you.
Yeah. I'd always be grateful to the judges that year for getting us that far, because that took us from the 12 grand a week to 20 grand.
Yeah,
if I'm honest, and that was the thing, and pride, and it gave us so much. It gave us footfall through the restaurant. It gave us a bit of marketing tool. It gave us motivation for the staff. It put us on the map nationally. It gave us our staple of we're known for fish and chips. It did so much for us.
Yeah,
it made people come to try us, and that was massive. You know, that was huge. I'll always be grateful for that little bit of light. And I think at the same time, we didn't sit there and mope. We didn't say anything. We just went in, done the same good things every day, which I think that's what I'm saying. I'd always be grateful, but I'd encourage people.
I think one of the things
to make your own
you
luck,
just touched on there, like with any competition, one thing you get is that you've come third, and rather than, like you just said, and I'll elaborate. I don't know if you mean this, but I'll elaborate from my point of view.
Yeah,
you've got two outlooks there. You've got the we didn't win, and go home or back to work and sulk. Or you've got, we're third, we've been in business 7 bloody months, let's shout about this thing. And that's what you chose to do. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, look, I said to Joey, like, we're not ready. But then we said, well, what's the worst that can happen? We don't get anywhere. So we don't go anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
But if we get somewhere, we've got a benchmark. The second year, actually, is really a bit more disappointing because we only got top 10.
Yeah.
But, and then...
But in hindsight, you got what you needed at the time, if that makes sense.
Well, it wasn't really we got what we needed. It wasn't like we went into the competition to purely... We went into it because, look, we've been in the industry years. We're proud of what we do and we love it. And that award is something that I would love to achieve.
Absolutely.
Free pride, and just to achieve it. And no one can take that off you once you've hopefully won it at some point. It was more that. And then it was more like, I don't think we're ready. And I don't want to go into this not ready.
Yeah.
But let's just get a benchmark and stuff it. Let's just go for it, you know, and see what happens.
What is it?
And to be fair, we got third. I didn't think we'd get that.
Well, that's amazing.
I'll take it, you know.
Yeah,
we'll take it.
Absolutely. and what is it that Mark did onwards? You said that Mark did something else.
Oh, so Mark, so we got top 10 in the UK. We got third in the UK. So that for the restaurant, that put us on the map, I would say. And then I think I'm not making out the times here, but it's roughly 4 or 5 months later. I was training on the grill, actually, on the new chef on the grill, and Mark booked a table for 2, and he brought Tom Parker bowls in for lunch, and I was like, oh my god, like, geez. So I went out to say hello to Mark, like, how you doing? All good? Like, oh shit, it's Tom. Fucking hell.
Oh, so you didn't know? You just went over?
I didn't know. No. Just brought him in. Just brought him in for lunch, and I was like, fuck. Like, obviously your head starts going mad. So we started. I think they had scallops, mussels, sardines on toast, fish and chips, Cornish sole.
Oh, they had a blowout then.
Chocolate mousse. Yeah, they had proper lunch. Yeah. They weren't
going back to work after that.
No. Martha looked after him, and bang, the review come out in the Daily Mail and put us national. And like, bang, it just.
So in your mind, did you think they were doing a review, or did you think it was 2 mates having dinner or lunch? Sorry.
No, I mean, look,
you had an inkling.
Like, I know how the industry works.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, he doesn't tell you.
Yes.
But that's Mark's job. You know, like, he's been in for lunch many times and not done anything.
Yes.
And I love having.
So that's what I was wondering. Did you think it was one of those?
But
I guess you never take it for granted anyway, do you?
I think you don't take it. I mean, look, he's one of the biggest food critics in the UK. Like, he's the royal part of the royal. He's huge. 4 Macy. I mean, don't get much bigger than that. I think there's 6 that you would probably 6 top food critics you would want in your restaurant to put you on the map. I mean, he's massive for us, you know. And again, it's that little bit of luck, you know. Like, Mark's come in. He gave us the first review that I felt was really balanced. It wasn't a perfect review by far, but it just gave people like, let's go try it. It felt like that, Like I would go, if I read that review, I'd go and try it with Joey in a new restaurant. But then bringing Tom in and bang that straight in the Daily Mail, in the magazine. But it's really quite surreal because when I was working I was working with Nevis and you see like Sabor on those pages, you just don't ever think you're going to be on it, especially a chippy as well. Like it's Firi because we're a chippy, we're a restaurant, a fish and chip restaurant, and so that gave us, that was like the second biggest bit of luck that we had. Like fantastic, like amazing. Again, I'd always be grateful to Tom and Mark for just coming to have lunch. It's just nice to have people like that in for lunch, to be honest. You're not thinking, what could come of this? At the end of the day, you just want to cook. You've worked your bollocks off all your life in the industry. You love cooking for people. I'm not going to lie, when someone comes in from the industry or a friend or someone big profile, of course you tend to always go the extra mile. Though you should, for everyone. You do, you've got to make sure like it's got to be fucking good, And
the difference,
but they put us in the Daily Mail, and that was massive.
I come as a customer, and with my families, and the food's always great, the service is always great.
Yeah.
But
I'm not saying we treat them any.
No, I was going to say, but I think what I was going to say,
you're just proud of doing your thing.
They're in a position to review it a bit more strongly. Just like if we went to a fish and chip shop together, or a fish and chip restaurant together, or a seafood restaurant together, like we look at it through a different lens. It's not to say that you treat them better. It's just you're, as a chef, you're more hyper aware. At
the end of the day, like, look, if your friend comes in, friends look after friends at the end
absolutely.
of the day. So Mark's become a good, like he's a friend, a really lovely guy. Got to know him. If he comes in, I'm going to look after him because he's there. But he's now sat with Tom Parker Bowles. This has to be perfect, whether it's a review or not. Out of pride, I want it to be perfect.
You feel the pressure.
And two, one thing a critic can do can put you on the map. One thing they can do, they can kill you as well. Like, I mean, that's difficult to take,
What amazes me is the relevance that the food reviewers and the newspapers still have in a world where newspaper sales are dropping and everyone's moving to online social media. That part of it actually is still quite popular. The art, the creative side. I know many people that go to the theatre and they'll always look at what's being said in the newspaper reviews. Same with restaurants, and that still holds quite a lot of power.
I think. Do you know what? I think they get more powerful, in my opinion, because I think there's so many influencers, people that want to go out and do their own reviews on restaurants now. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can set up an Instagram account today. I'm a chef, been in the industry long. I can go out, I have my opinion. Whether people want to listen or not is another thing. But that's what I'm saying. One thing that Mark has got, he's been in the industry so long that he's got a profile behind him that people listen. And if Mark said it's good, it must be good. If Tom Parker Bowles says it's good, it must be good. So
you trust
these people have clarity.
You trust them.
The trust element and clarity is there, and they got a backing and a following. So I think people still have their core. I mean, look, papers wouldn't survive if people are still selling papers in the shop. Like it wouldn't be a business if they weren't selling all day. So I think for me they have a lot of clarity, a lot to play, a lot to do. I mean, I remember in Sabor when Jay Rayner, it was my second day on the grill with Nevis, and Jay Rayner walked in and sat down. And she said, just get the fuck off the grill now and go out the back. I haven't got time to teach you today. Just cook for him, and I get it. It's like you get one opportunity. It's very rare that someone like that walks in your restaurant. And when they do, you have to try and take those opportunities.
And the thing is there as well, like everything's on show at Sabor. You're sitting at the bar and it's right there in front of you.
There's no error. If you make her, you can see everything. You know what I mean? Amazing, but I
think she probably, in hindsight, did the right thing.
No, without that, I respect her for it. Like I don't think, like I completely get it. I did the same when Tom walked through the door. I said, "Look, I'm sorry. Like, I know it's your second day, but I need to cook this because if it goes wrong, it's on me.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I don't want it to be on you."
It's absolutely true. So I guess the main thing there is like the power that these reviewers still have, which we had Andy Haler on the podcast a few years ago, and I want to get him back on actually. And he's one of the only reviewers that's reviewed every 3 and 2 star Michelin.
Maybe you tell me about this fella. Okay.
So, but he's really nice actually, quite intimidating actually, because he's very he's very analytical. So you ask him a question about a restaurant he's went to, and he's going through his database in his brain. He's very analytical. But I said to him once, like, why is it you've never really reviewed a fish and chip shop over 12 out of 20? Ritz might get 18 or 19, but a fish and chip restaurant, the most you've got is a 12 to 13. And he just said, look, he goes, that's not a downside. It's not to say that fish and chips is bad inherently. He said, but he goes, but I also mark for creativity. Yeah. So fish and chips can't be creative. So in a sense, it hits a bottleneck to some degree in the scoring. So, but I'd love to get him back on and see what's changed in the last few years. Yeah. But I'd love to tell him about your place, because I think he'd love it. To be honest, he loves fish and chips. He loves Indian food as well, actually.
Sure.
But
I think it comes to the thing is though, is like they're all different types of restaurants, aren't they? Like you can. I mean, that's where Michelin is really difficult at the moment. Look, as a chef, you dream of achieving one. Of course you would, or 2 or 3 or whatever. If that's your. But I think when you get. I was working in Singapore, and you get a chicken rice stall with 1-star Michelin
in a little box,
and then you get like Sabor 1-star Michelin. And I went to Pollen Street, and that's fine dining. Probably one of the most memorable meals I've had is 1-star Michelin. How do you compare a chicken stall to a 1-star?
Yeah,
I think I'm not going against what the guy's saying, but they're completely different.
Absolutely.
With the same.
Yeah.
Well,
so I think I read up on that ages ago, and it said that because they're trying to build the book in those areas, and it's a bit clickbaity as well, isn't it? Like it's outrage. So like if a little noodle bar under a car park that's smaller than my bedroom and a bar in Japan is doing the best noodles in the world, people are like, oh my god, we've got to go there, and it creates a buzz.
Of course, I understand.
Whereas I think in the UK, it sells a book. Whereas in the UK, it's more established. They don't need to do things like that, I guess.
Nah.
But yeah, you're right. There is a huge disparity there. If like Pollen Street Social, which I love, like is amazing, and then you go and find this little shack selling chicken hearts in China, and you're like, well, how does that work? Like,
which are both equally amazing in their own right. And I think that's what I was going down the route earlier when we were saying you do the best bacon sandwich, you get known for it. Like you do the best chicken rice in Singapore.
But that'd never happen in the UK, would it? No.
I don't know. I don't. What, that people would queue down the street?
No, that would happen.
Oh, sorry.
What I meant was more so that would never get recognition by Michelin, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I mean, why should it not?
No, I agree with that. Why should it not? I agree with that bit. But I mean, I'm more on your side, which is it should maybe. Yeah. But
look, I think there's fundamentals that, firstly, you should, when you're starting out to do something, you should love it and have a passion for it. 2, you should have your goal of what you want to achieve. And 3, your biggest clarity on are you doing well is how busy your place is.
Yeah.
In theory, accolades come as a nice gesture and a nice thing to keep momentum going in my eyes. And I think, like, if you set out to be, you can't be successful without your customers at the end of the day.
Absolutely, without them, nothing.
And you can, by sticking to your route and being like, so, like, what we've achieved. I'm really proud of what we've achieved at Noah's in such a short period of time. But that hasn't. We didn't start Noah's to achieve accolades. We started Noah's to become a restaurant that we're proud of, a restaurant that we want to produce. We basically set out Noah's to produce the best fish and chips in the UK. Is hopefully what we've become established for, and one of the best seafood restaurants in the UK. And that's what we want to be known for. If you're in Bristol and you want seafood, you come to Noah's. That's what we want to know, and that's what we want to achieve. And further afield, if we can grow there, that we get this reputation. Like, if you go in South Wales, you go in Bristol, you got to go and eat at Noah's. That's what we want to achieve.
I guess in some ways, you'd rather have no trophies and a full restaurant that's full all the time. I know I see some shops, and some of them have failed, unfortunately, over the years. And I remember there was one a few years ago that isn't not around anymore. And I remember going there, and we'd do like a batter demo or something, and they'd spend ages showing me all the trophies they got. They won this award local area, they won this award on national level. But then you look around, you know, it was a Friday lunch and there was no one in the site, and you think this is a goner, unfortunately. And I think sometimes you can hyper focus on awards, and I don't think you do that, by the way.
No.
But I think some people do, and I think that is also dangerous. Like,
I think it's dangerous. I think it's a dangerous game to play. You lose focus on what you are and what you're trying to achieve. At the end of the day, why would you open a restaurant to become a Michelin-starred restaurant? Like, if you cook what you love, do what you love doing, and you're busy, that's got to be the best satisfaction in the world. Yeah. That you're getting to do what you love, and people are coming to try it. If you achieve along the way, like, okay, Ceres, beautiful.
What a place.
I remember I walked in there. I was only a young lad. Look, Dad worked with Mitch 12 years previous to that, and I know Mitch when we were kids. But I walked in the Ceres so nervous. It's elegant, it's beautiful, it's stunning. It feels like you're in this amazing, beautiful restaurant in Italy. You're right on the front of Dartmouth. It's just class, you know. Like, and you go in the kitchen, the Joss was there. It's beautiful. Like, simplicity at its best. It's just like unbelievable. I don't believe. I might be wrong. I don't think it's ever been recognised by Michelin.
No, I bet not.
Unbelievable. But how can a gem like that not? I mean, it's just a fucking amazing place, you know?
Yeah, if you were transplanted there and you're blindfolded and you opened your eyes, you wouldn't think you were in the UK, would you?
Honestly, you go down there. The people that I work for, I've took a lot of inspiration from every different element that they gave me, and I've never seen a dining room rock the way Mitch rocks a dining room. And you go down to a food festival. I mean, it's like a foodie's dream. I mean, he's got all the best chefs pretty much in the UK. Cooking there, taking over the Ceres for like 3 days. It's carnage. I mean, you're working in the kitchen. You've got this chef walking in. This one's next. This one's coming up next. You've got prep for this, and it's nuts. And it's free flow. Like, the drinks are fly. Like, it's just amazing. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a restaurant like that.
They're hard to recreate those special things. Clearly, you move Mitch out of that situation.
No, it won't be the same.
It's just not the same.
Everything that Ceres, like, I used to go in and like there'd be a brandy at 8 a.m, like, and like I remember my apron was dirty, like, from prepping. I'd prep it away like fucking. Mitch has come in like, stay at your apron. I'm like, yeah, no, sorry, I was like prepping like that. So I come here, like, I think I can say this. I don't mind anyway. You pull my head back, 10-second pour, and then chuck grappa over me. It was like, you won't be dirty again. No, yeah, I fucking am. Like, trying to get ready for service here. Like, but it's magical, you know. Like, it works for him because it's his personality in there, and I loved my time. I was only there a short period. I was there probably just over a year, I think. But amazing, what amazing guy in restaurant. He took me on. He's so generous to me as well.
When we did the podcast, I finished the podcast at like 9:15, 9:20. We got there early so we could crack on with the day. And he was like, "Should we have a brandy?" And I was like,
"Yeah."
AM. I was like, no. I was like, okay, like, you know, it's one of those where you can't say no to Mitch. Like,
no. Do you know what I think? You know, when you're young and you get in this place and then you're focused and you're learning and you're pushing and you're like, geez, like, thing, and then you get to where I am now and you reflect and you think that what Mitch has built there is so unique, and then you go, and the produce he's like bringing in for you to use is just like stunning, and his vision, and it's just like unbelievable. And Mitch didn't cook a lot in the kitchen when I was there at all, but he was in and around the restaurant 2-3 days a week. He used to work the front of house one night a week, which was great, and run it and look at it from the past. But one thing, and I'm not saying he's doing it for net, but one thing, he was always eating in there and feeding back, which is super important to the kitchen. Whether it's good or bad, like, if it was me, fucking thanks, amazing meal today, boys, like, thing, this, that, the other, you know. But the one thing that Mitch was amazing was like networking, the amount of people that he knew in there. But he generally like, you could just see it in him. He generally loves doing that as his life, you know, his lifestyle. And I think now I've got my own place, to build that is so difficult, but comes natural to him, I think. And I think. But he's so generous as well. Like I was there a year and he took me on. They do a thing called Truffle Trip. I think they still call it Truffle Trip, but it's where all the chefs from like all his friends get together and they go here. So like one of them plans to go to Italy, one plans to go to Spain. Like they do it year on year. He flew me away. Like, he didn't have to do that. He flew me away to Italy. Mad day, eating like the most amazing food. We took me to El Gattinero, which is like, again, if you want to see a restaurant at its simplicity at its best, but amazing food, it's there. It's become famous for it, and just like incredible. Super generous, and it also gave me advice to go on to Sabor, and always helped me. We had a second reviewer in, and I rang him about that because I was like, so nervous. I said, "Don't worry, I love it." I don't speak to him a lot. I don't speak to him hardly at all, to be honest. But I don't think I'd always be grateful for what he did for me in that sense, And everyone I worked for, like Neveson or Emright and Marco as well, But it's fantastic place,
Yeah.
I forgot my train of what I was saying actually. No. But the Ceres is beautiful.
No, it is
amazing place.
And anybody
I'm
listening,
forever grateful for working at.
If they're passing that way, they should go in because
without a doubt, it's brilliant.
But
it's brilliant.
One thing that struck me though is the two different businesses that he's running. They are so different. They are chalk and cheese. You've got Seahorse, which is you just cannot replicate it. Without Mitch there, it's just not the same because that passion, that energy. And then you've got Rockfish, which is essentially what's trying to be a seafood brand.
Yeah.
And I think they're two different disciplines, completely different disciplines, and yet he's juggling them.
Look, I think I'll take my hat off to people like Mitch, because I was a kid at the time, but obviously I lived my life with Dad working with him at Fishworks, and I know that didn't go well in the end. But to go through that, because it hit Dad hard as well, but to be the owner of that and get knocked back and then rebuild yourself to where he is today is phenomenal. I mean, that's I'd take my hat off to anyone who can do that. And then I think when you go down to Rock, I think you're right. The way I could sum it up is I think the Ceres is this restaurant that Mitch just loves to walk in and loves to take his guests to, and it's
an
amazing.
extension of him, isn't
Ben's, it? Ben's obviously running it now, his son. And I work with Ben in London. Ben's an amazing guy, on the same wavelength as Mitch. I mean, I'm sure the Stelios is. I haven't eaten there since, but I'm sure the Stelios is just another level with Ben in there. I'm sure it's just incredible, But I think Rockfish, of course, it's got a different purpose to the Stelios. The Stelios, there's never going to be 12 Steelios. It can't be. It's so unique, But with what Mitch is building with Rockfish, I think it's a great thing, and I think the way they even the hub on the market, buying the hub in the fish in, and the way they distribute it, everything about it is just every little process has been thought about. And of course, they're naturally going to have their problems, every business, But I think Matt Prowse is heading up the hub, I believe, with Josh, and you couldn't have two better guys to do that, And I think the team has with us is fantastic. Look, to open one restaurant is difficult. To open 12, I mean, you have to be seriously good at what you do, and there's no doubt he's super talented in that sense. And, I only admire what he's done, and I think he's amazing, really.
So moving back to Noah's and Bristol for a minute, what made you choose Bristol? Was it just a natural progression moving on from Bath?
Do you know what? It was really. Yeah, I can't open in Bath. That's it.
Yeah, no, of course.
So we can't open in the same city. We actually looked at Bath to open a different seafood restaurant.
Okay.
And we found a site in Bath the same day as we found Noah's.
Okay.
Ironically, and we actually was going for the site in Bath, and then we went over. I said to Dad, "We're going to view." I used to look every night. It took us about 18 months to find a site, and I sent it to him. I got home from work, look every night. I pinged it to him on WhatsApp and said, "What do you think about this?" It's a bit mad, but. God, just see if it's available. So I phoned the agent the next day. She said, we've got about 12 people inquired. So we've shut the booking. Said, okay, I'll get there next week. She said, no, it'd be gone by then. I said, okay, we'll come tomorrow then. So we went over and met the owner, Gary, and just spent 2 hours talking to him about it. And for anyone who hasn't been there, it's literally, you got the Portway, which is Spaghetti Junction, Bristol, basically. It's bridges everywhere, concrete jungle. And then this porter cabin sits underneath the road in front of the river. So when you look at it from the outside, it's what is this? But when you go inside, there's no noise, and you got the most beautiful view of the Clifton Suspension Bridge and the water in front of you. and it had so many things. It had the right square footage for the covers. It's got a big terrace with it. It's got water. It's got an amazing view. It's right on the docks where you can walk. Parking's all around it. It weighed up a lot of positives to negatives. The only negative, or not the only negative, there's a few negatives, but we're under a flyway. So notoriously, anyone who's been there, no trade works at night, apparently, because it's not the sort of place you really want to go in the dark. Like, could have some dodgy dealings underneath there, I'm sure. And then, two, it's so out the way. If you don't know it's there, you're not going to know it's there. But what I did believe is if you get known for doing great things, you'll be known as that little place under the flyway. Even if you don't remember the name, that's what you're looking to build. But so that's why I went for it.
Well,
I think it had a lot of positives.
But it also has a claim to fame, doesn't it? Because wasn't it the
the
calf?
Yeah, it was the
Only Fools and Horses calf.
Yeah. So where they did Trigger's Broom, the scene in Only Fools and Horses. So that was Sid's calf. Yeah. Look, I think, like, again, like going into it, like, oh yeah, that was a big part of it. It's famous in Bristol. Everyone knows it in Bristol. Everyone thinks we shot it for 8 months to refurb it. Everyone forgets about it.
Yeah.
No one cares. Like you're starting from scratch still. It was a massive reality. Like when we went, when I said earlier, when we went to the Oyster Shell, we opened a takeaway in Bath off the back of the Scallop Shell, essentially. I mean, the queues were insane. I think the first weekend we did 18 grand in there in 3 days. And then the second week we did 23 grand, I think it was. And it was just like, fucking hell, like, this is insane. Like, it was mad, you know. The first week in Noah's, I think we did 8 grand. Like, to put it into perspective. And that's takeaway prices at that volume. And then that's restaurant prices at that volume. And it's not a lot. Over a 7-day week, it's nothing. No. You know, you can't survive on that. And we spent 10 months bouncing between 10 to 12 grand, and that was the reality of it, and that was difficult. But the reason we chose it was the site had a lot more positives than negatives, and we felt that if we could build the reputation and become known as that little place under the flyway in Bristol, you've got a chance, you know.
But I think one of the things that you have got, and I think is a huge plus, is, well, aside from all the good things that you just mentioned, but it's the fact that you do have parking there. Like most of the places in Bristol, there is hardly any parking. Like on the Gloucester Road, whenever we go to Lona on the Gloucester Road, we always get a parking ticket every time. Like, I just factor it in now. It's just like, you know, and I think most places in Bristol now, they're very Bristol's, for anybody listening, Bristol's very pro-bicycle, anti-car, I'd say. I think that's the fairest way.
It's going the same way as any other city. It's got the emission zone charge. Exactly. It's got parking thing. They're permit holding every bloody neighbourhood here. They're pedestrianising, like Clifton Village pedestrianised.
Yeah, you might as well just leave your car at the service station on the motorway. Cause
exactly. It is like that, you know. So we're super lucky. I mean, straight off the portway. Down and bang, you got over 100 car parking spaces all around you. Like, it's brilliant, you know. But it wasn't always like that, you know. And it's like, I listen to podcasts on the way to work sometimes, because I drive from Bath. We still live in Bath, and I remember there was one with Jimmy Carr where he said everyone wants what you got, but not everyone's willing to go through what you got to get it. I think it was, and I think it's so true, you know, because it's when you see these places now. I mean, look, if you walked into Fred's place in down by Bournemouth, I mean, it's just like insane. Like, he opens the door and it's just like the restaurant's full and the takeaway's flying, and you're like, and you go in there and it's just like, it's like a factory of perfection. It's amazing. But we did a day with him down there. We went down there, did a day with him, come out like, fucking hell, we don't know anything. Like, this is insane. Like, a massive reality slap in the face for me and Dad, you know, going into the takeaway. And but then you walk down the street. Fred, how you doing? That takes years, you know, and that takes years to build that reputation, years of persistence and caring.
I think, you know, one of the things, except there's a lot of lazy thinking in business, generally speaking, and if I said, you know, what you just said, if I said that to somebody, some people with a very quick, lazy thought process, they don't mean anything malicious, will say, oh, but he's next to the seaside. And I'll say, but he's not. If you zoom out on a map and you're looking at it from, I don't know, 1,000 meters high, yes, possibly he is next to the seaside. When you're walking past the shop, Westbourne is not near the seaside. It has no parking. It's got a loading bay out the front, which they monitor mentally. And then there's also a lot of food competition in Westbourne, a lot. So there was a Pizza Express, but there's loads of food. There's restaurant after restaurant after restaurant, lots of little boutique shops as well. But one thing I learned it on the podcast initially when he came on, but also getting to know him over the years, is that his attention to detail for the last 20, 30 years is just obsessive. Like, I remember going to eat fish and chips over Phil Vickery once, and we had our plates, and Fred comes over and goes, "Sorry, it's crap." And we were eating it thinking it was nice, and he goes, "I'm not really happy with this today or that today." And we were just eating it thinking, "Well, Fred, it's actually like it's okay." Like, and he's like,
I think
he would have took it away from us if he could have. Like,
I think Fred is the perfect example of if you do one thing well, you'll become known for it. Because Fred's knowledge of the hospitality and restaurant industry. I mean, he's eaten in more restaurants than me. He knows everything about them, and he knows good food. Like the guy's not just fish and chip. The guy knows a lot, but he's always been so humble to say that's not me. And I hope you don't mind me saying. I think he's put a grill in his chippy, but never used it.
No, it's true. No, he wouldn't mind saying that. Like, it's had going jokes.
So the guy says, "I know fish and chips, and I know how to do that."
He won't mind me saying he has used it. It gets daily use.
Okay, fine.
It's a placeholder.
Okay.
I think he's got
right.
I think he's got bits and bobs on top of it. It's become like a countertop. I remember when he put it in, he goes, "I'm excited. I might do a bit of this. I might do a bit of that." And I sort of laughed and I said, "I bet you don't use it." And in actual fact, the intention was there. I think. Well, we've got him coming on the podcast again. I'll ask him about that, but I think he just sort of thought, I'm going to do what I do best, and I don't think that means he'll never use it, but probably have to get.
It's just like everything. It's not even about just the fish and chip. It's like everything that he's done when he refurbed it. To think about, like, okay, like you were saying earlier, Friday night. But what about Monday night? Mm-hmm. He's got, I don't know how many pans it is, 9 pans, or whatever it is, seven to nine pans, I think.
7 to 9.
But if he needs to, he can scale that down to 4 pans.
Yeah,
and he can cook for the takeaway in the restaurant at the same time. Not everyone thinks like that, Like,
well, and this is one of the common.
And the flow of the place, like to go into the takeaway and out, and then into the restaurant. It doesn't.
For me,
correspond.
Fred will hate the fact that we're talking about him so much anyway, because he hates it. You know what he's like. But I'll finish it off by saying, he'll tell me off later, which is fine. I'll get told off. He'll be fine. But no, it's one of the things that I noticed about him. I genuinely think, in terms of the industry, when we think of hospitality, which isn't quite what fish and chips is, if I'm honest. I think of Fred when it comes to hospitality. I think, he is like, the Danny Mayer. He is, the Jeremy King. He is the guy in our industry that is, Corbyn and King type guy, Danny Mayer type guy.
About that.
And he does do great fish and chips, but it doesn't end there. You said before he does one good thing well. I'd slightly disagree with that. I think he does loads of little things well. Like, and aside from the fish and chips, obviously, but the service is always good. We went there. I think it was for my birthday in May, and my kids were so excited to go there because they love fish and chips now, and it was just impeccable service. It wasn't because I was there. We just had a table like everyone else. Everyone is just as happy as we are, And I think when you have that level of detail, like fresh flowers, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, it all adds up to that excellent experience.
Sorry. When I said he does one thing well, I meant.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
I think what I meant was that he doesn't start grilling fish going out his comfort. Yeah. He knows that he does one. He's known as a fish and chip takeaway and restaurant, and he says, if I'm going to be known for that, I do the best.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. You can't just serve the best fish and chips or product without amazing service and little touches and the personal details. There's service and then there's hospitality and going out your way to make that special. But at the moment, like, to help someone through the door, like. You can see an elderly person come through your door. If a parent stressed with 2 kids, like, I don't know, help them through, take the pram, make it comfortable for them. They come to eat with you, Don't make it a hard life. They're already flustered. I've got 2 kids. It's bloody horrible when you're trying to go through and your kids are not playing ball and you're like, oh, no. I mean, we've been to a restaurant where, I'm not saying go this far, but the waitress is like, took Noah and like held him and took him to, because you can see we're trying to eat, and like just took him to the kitchen. Like, we know them as well. Like, it's not just randomly give Noah to a lady. But like, I'm just like, it isn't about like, oh, it's a birthday, so give him a cake. It's just reacting. You can't do that unless you've got that in your personality.
No, and I think you're right. Like, you know, we come to Noah's and, you know, and we go to Fred's, and obviously our kids are young. Alex is a bit older now, but like Nicholas is on the younger side, and you do feel like, I feel conscious as a parent, like because I don't like it when I go to a restaurant and there's kids screaming, so I don't want my kid to be like that either. But Fred's and you type of place where you'll give them colouring in things and things to do, and like, you know, and it takes their mind off it for a little bit, but you know, that's just course, kids all over, isn't it? Yeah,
there's only so much you can do. But, but I think you're right. I mean, I urge anyone in the industry, if they get a chance to go down to, I know this is the last time I'm going to talk about Fred as well, but let's think about Fred. But go down and see his place, because I think, like, if you want to see perfection, or as near perfection as you can get at that volume, I don't think there is a better place.
Absolutely, no, I agree.
I don't think there is.
And, you know, talking to kids though for a second, and restaurants, I'm reading Jeremy King's new book at the moment about hospitality and his life in hospitality. You should get the book. I'm only a few pages in. And he says that when he'd first opened the Wolsey, a customer rings and says, is it okay to bring kids? And he goes, well, imagine, and I'm going to butcher this, but he goes, imagine you were a guest and someone else was with your kids. Would you want to sit next to those kids? And she goes, you know what, we'll come alone. We'll bring our kids another time. And I just chuckled to myself, because I was thinking, you know how many times I think we'll say, where should we go eat today? And we're like, oh, what sort of mood are the kids in? And like, and I don't want to genuinely go to a nice restaurant if I'm going to ruin everybody else's experience. I just think, you know, because kids can be very finicky, like, you know. So
I think it's like we do like, again, we probably might cover this a bit later, but like, we do certain things at Noah's that we have to do, I believe, because it's our bread and butter, and then we can have like the more Carillion prime, like I talked about the lobsters earlier, when it's the right time. But like, we do kids eat free every school holiday. However, we look at when everyone else is saying this is a problem, how do you reverse that? So like, notoriously in hospitality, lunch trade's poor. Well then, how do we make that good? Well, everyone does a deal in January. Why? Because it's dead. But then when it comes to peak summer, they want to do a la carte all day to rake the money. And then main one is quiet in January. I'm not saying we're busy in January, but like, so we do lot keepers lunch, which is $14.50 for 3 options. You get fish and chips. Generally do a smoked salmon and cod fish cake. We do mussels, chickpea fritter. It can change daily, but generally cod's always on there. And then with a mug of tea for $14.50. And we do that 7 lunches a week, Saturday, Sunday. And I get mixed opinions on that. Like, you're stupid, why are you doing that on a Saturday? And we do a thing called tea time. We combined it now. We do a thing called tea time at Noah's, which is 5 till 6:30. And we do the same deal. And then in the kids' holiday, when you think it'd be the busiest because it's kids' holiday, we do kids eat free. We do kids eat free Monday to Friday lunch. I don't do it Saturday lunch or Sunday lunch because, again, we're busy enough to just do the lot keepers lunch. And we do it in conjunction with tea time. So we do it Monday to Thursday. And I look at that and say, well, look, I've got 2 young kids. I want to go and feel comfortable. I don't want to go out on a Wednesday night and spend 70, 80 quid, you know, but they can come and eat essentially for less than 30 quid with their family. And they get some family time Monday to Thursday before the kids need to go to bed. And the diners that are going to come and dine at 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I don't have a problem with kids being there as well, by the way, after this, but they can come whenever they want. But essentially, you're giving families the chance to come and eat at an amazing price point. And for me, that goes a long way. So it's not about the short-term gain of the money, because we don't make the margins we need to make on that, of course. But that is a better marketing tool for me than a social media paid ad or this or 2 for what. That is consistently happening 365 days of the year. And you can come any day of the week to get that. And we get regular customers now. We get a lot of people coming back for that. We get people come back at the weekend with friends that come every Wednesday for fish and chips.
And that must help you become known for value for money as well.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. I mean, look, you got, I still have a discussion. Dad's like, you're going to have a look at maybe stopping that on a Saturday. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not the same as you. I don't have
I think
10,000 tourists flooding into the city. Dad.
How long did it take you to have that clear distinction that your dad's in an area where, customers are just descending on him and they have full wallets because they're usually from Asia or America or they're from Bath and have lots of money. Again, that's not to disparage what he does because he does a great job. He just has a different customer base. And whereas you're dealing with a different clientele, how long did that take you to create that fork in the road and go your own way?
I think you have to do it off reaction, because you got to survive and you got to hone your business. And I think any good person in business will say, well, we're going to have to diverse here and change a little bit and do what's right for this site. You can't because you're doing it on one site, do it. We're not the same site. And to be fair, you would say we're pretty similar naturally because I've put a lot into the Scottish show in my career as well. And obviously Dad didn't put two heads together and pretty much the same as well. You work together a lot of your life, But so if you ate in Scottish show, you'd probably say, it's very similar in Noah's. But there's little traits that we'll be doing now that he doesn't do because we do things slightly different, and he gave me a fantastic foundation, but I do things my way. I want to do things now, and so to be fair, you say Bristol's got affluent areas like Clifton, but Bath's also got a lot of humble people, a lot of working class people that don't want even the rich people. They don't get rich for a reason. They know the value of money. They don't just go and spend in a la carte in tasting menus every night of the week. They want to go for a fish and chips at 15 quid and feel value for money. So I think that's why Dad does so well in Bath, because tourists aren't there 365 days of the year as well. He's got an amazing local client base that come week in, week out. And they're, so he's very humble in his roots as well, Dad, and what he's trying to achieve there. And I think for me, it works. Now, the next thing is, the only way you're going to see whether you would keep your trade up at a la carte prices is by doing it. I don't want to take that risk yet. We're not filling the restaurant. We're filling it, but I want to keep that momentum going, especially there's still more to go. Where the economy is at the moment. Don't lose momentum. That's what I'm saying. When you get that light, grab it. Don't be afraid to change and diverse and change prices and do this and do that. You've got to survive. You've got to make a living.
Yeah.
But you can't serve fish and chips at 8 quid and it's costing you 4 quid to put it in a box. No. But you do have to look at it and say, if I walked in here today, would I be happy? And is that great value? Well, yeah, it is. Okay, well, great. I'm confident to say that. So I can't go and get a coffee and a sandwich now for less than a tenner.
Exactly.
It really is very. So if I could sit in Noah's, warm, beautiful environment, great service and hospitality, a generous meal with a Yorkshire cup of tea for $14.50, I get people complain about that as well, by the way. But sometimes moaning, the peas weren't too small. It's got chips, tartar sauce, peas, and probably about 160, 70 gram piece of fish on a plate for $14.50 in today's economy. I'm fucking happy with that. I'm sorry. I think what we're doing is a really good thing, that's where we are. So
I guess some people are always going to have that. Some people are like that. They'll go anywhere and moan about anything. But I think that's a great deal. I think it represents great value, especially like you said, the setting is great. So So what would you say your split is on, let's say, fried product to sort of non-fried product?
It depends on the week.
Okay.
It's that diverse still and time of the year. It really is. It's like Monday. Yeah, I've gone in last night. No, I've gone in. Sorry, this morning before we did this and looked in the fridges because we run things different at Noah's. I don't want to say we're unique, but our business model is not the same as a traditional fish and chip restaurant. We tend to use the phrase on the sea cod because you have to. Because you don't have to. That's where Mitch is. He's took the view to take it off the menu as far as I know.
Okay.
And diverse, but we choose to keep it on because we look at it and say, well, look, it's the nation's favourite dish. People are not going to eat here unless you have cod on the menu potentially. So and it's nice and it's lovely and it's amazing. But as we all know, frozen, the prices have gone through the roof. But the rest of our menu is dictated by the boats and the markets in the UK, and that will change daily or by service. So at lunch it could be this, by night it could be this, depending on what we're swapping into. And my job every morning is to go in, assess where we are with the fish, check the quality naturally, and then I'm phoning the market, our suppliers, and what's good today, what price is good today, and I'm buying them simply off of that. And the fish markets are still old school. They're done on supply and demand. So literally they land a lot and not many people want it. The price is low. It's as simple as that. And the grades as well, it comes in. So we try and be clever in what we're buying, and we have a certain price we pay for certain products. If we get a good buy, we might buy more. If it's not so good because fish is wild, it might be that the weather's crap and they can't get out because east winds. You've got to go off beamers. You might go, but it really goes down to that. So our menu will change as per that, and I think we go from 6 to 8, maybe 9 choices of fish. But I'm proud of that, and I think what we're showing is you can diverse in a different way. Mm-hmm. You can diverse. The UK has got probably the most amazing fish in the world on its doorstep. I mean, we're an island surrounded by like incredible fish, and it's priced all over the world. 80% of it gets exported. You go down Brixham, the cuttlefish room, and all that fish are all going abroad. And I think as a nation, we need to be made more aware of that. And it comes that it's difficult. We talk for hours on it. Probably,
no, it's true. Like I've done multiple podcasts on
but,
the fact that 90% of the fish that's caught in the British waters is gone to France, sent to France, and the UK has this crazy obsession with what's the big five? So it's cod, haddock, tuna. Smoked salmon and prawns. That's the big five. And there's a few other bits that fall outside of that, like some pelagic or whatever, but for the most part that's the big five. And
my nan's the most amazing example of it. She only eats cod and chips. You gave her haddock and chips, that's beautiful, I'm sure. If you told her, I'm not going to do this to her, it's tight, but I'm sure if you said, it's cod, nan, it's lovely. Like, and that probably sounds really rude or arrogant of me. But what I'm trying to get at is, look, if it's on the menu and it's amazing, or the quality is fantastic, try it. You never know. And then
I guess it goes back to we've sort of over the years in the UK, well before your time, before your dad's time. I'd imagine when your nan was young, that generation, they would have had pretty much whatever was there. Like,
sure.
They wouldn't have been overly picky in their younger days. And then they've grown to say, well, actually, I like cod. It's white, it's very thick, it's chunky, it's very sweet. There's no bone. And if they don't want it, there's no skin. And then they move into that direction. They're like, I only want this. So before it was a treat, and now it's I only want this. As it's become more abundant, it's become only rather than every now and then. Goners, whiting, ling, all of these white fish that were abundantly available that nobody's really touching over here.
I think culture takes a lot of its toll, and the way we've again, we'll go back to where we went to Spain and Italy, and I mean, you're in the middle of San Sebastian, and there's 4 veg stalls full of veg next to each other, different traders. They've got that much confidence, and people that are buying produce daily or every other day that will go to those stalls and buy it. And like fishmongers, like you go, I don't know, Barcelona is quite touristy now, but you go to Boqueria, I mean, there's like 20, maybe 10, 12 fishmongers all in one section, all making a living. You can't find a fishmongers in Bath. There's one, I think, and you can't find, there's a handful of greengrocers. It's supermarket and weekly driven, and I get it, people's got busy lifestyles, but I think when you go to it becomes part of their culture over there, like eating till midnight gone is part of the culture. Sat there and eating. I'm not saying it's not here. The weather plays its part. There's lots of different things that will play its part.
There's just so many different social economic things that have changed.
Exactly, which is why you could talk about it for hours. But I think what we're trying to do at Noah's is, like today we've got cod, hake, red mullet on the fry.
Oh, I love red mullet.
And then down below we've got bass, silver mullet. We put a little seafood plate on, which is like a combination of everything to try on a plate. So you get like a mixed seafood grill. I've just got some John Dory for 2 come in. We've got St John Dory for 1, and then we've got Brill just sat behind that, ready to come on. So there's many different species there to try. And I think that's, for me, that's got to be a fantastic way forward, especially with the way frozen at sea fish is going and where the world is at the moment. We've got amazing fresh fish on our doorstep.
Yeah.
Let's use it and let's try to educate people into that. And that's not easy. I'm not saying that as well, because
it's solid.
Like, obviously, we're in the same position. We ain't gone as strong enough to take cod off the menu.
No.
And the reason we're buying frozen at sea cod is, 1, the product's fantastic, frozen within 24 hours. Everyone knows that. But 2, the price is set to a certain degree for a period of time, and you can get consistency on price. You can't get that with a market fish unless you buy it in bulk and freeze it yourself.
Well, like you said,
which you can do.
The other fish and seafood you're buying would be changing daily, fluctuating daily, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it fluctuates daily. Yeah, so like tomorrow, I don't know what's going to be on the menu.
Yeah.
At the moment. Well, I do. I've ordered this morning.
Yeah, okay.
The next day, I don't know what's going to be on the menu. So, like, but that's the exciting part of my job. Great, I get to phone. What you got today? What's this? What's that? Okay, what can I make? Okay, what dressings can I do with it? Okay, fantastic. Okay, guys, we've got this coming in today. It's going to be amazing. We've got turbot coming in today at a great price. We've got lobsters, we've got crab, we've got this, we've got that. We've got some amazing. They just landed a shitload of sardines, fresh sardines. Nice. We're going to do sardines on the lunch menu, grilled just with some garlic parsley oil and some lemon. Super simple, beautiful.
This year, I've started to really enjoy sardines. Like this year, I don't know why. I often tell my boys off for this, and I won't say it in front of them. They'll never listen to this. But like, with kids when they turn their nose up to something new, and you'll say, "Oh, try this." And I'm like, "No, I don't like it." And I'll say, "Well, have you tried it, Alex?" And he's like, "Well, no, but I don't like it." And I'll be like, "Okay, then." Well, I was like that with sardines. I don't know why. I had this image in my head that I wasn't going to like them, and then I've been trying to sort of get healthier, and I read that they were a high source of calcium or something. And once my brain recognises that there's a benefit somewhere, I'll eat it, even if it stinks. Like, they don't stink; they're lovely. But I went to Marks and Spencer. I bought some really nice tinned ones.
Sure.
And I thought, if I'm going to buy some tinned ones, at least buy the best ones I can get. Like, so I went to Marks and Spencer. I bought loads, and actually, like, nice squeeze of lemon juice on them, and they're lovely. Yeah. And actually, I thought to myself, I was eating them, thinking, what was I afraid of? Like, what was I thinking? But
I think the thing is, still, if you take that cod, the frozen at sea cod, and it's frozen within 24 hours at sea, and you look at it, it's translucent when it comes out. Then after a day or two, it goes white, loses its juice. When you're buying fish, it's no different. Like, there'll be a lot of elements in it that you're looking for in the signs. But if fish is amazing, it's amazing. If fish is old, it's old.
Yeah.
And generally, most people would have had. There's nothing wrong with freezing fish. So if someone wanted to go down that route and say they've landed a lot of hake on the market that day, for example, and it's an amazing price, take it in bulk, freeze it down yourself. You froze it in amazing condition. Yeah. It's not going to be any different to your cod.
Freeze it as soon as possible. So, don't leave it for 3 years. Yeah.
The problem with frozen product is it goes down and you get to a point where it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Oh shit, what to do? Okay, I'll freeze it. And then you get to the point where I can use it. I'll make a fish pie out of it. And then the fish pie is fucking horrible because it's old fish. So the perception's wrong, And then people have eaten a shit fish pie. Oh, I don't like fish pie anymore. Oh, I don't like this anymore. I don't like that anymore. Oh, I don't like fish. It stinks. It don't stink if you get amazing fish. Yeah, if you get amazing fish, it doesn't. If it's old, it's old.
So would you say the main goal at the moment, Dan, with the economy and everything we've discussed, would you say it's just keeping bums on seats?
I think it's a really important part. You can put bums on seats with not a lot of margin, and that's not right, is it? Because you've got to make money in order to survive and push forward as a business. So I think it's just trying to look at the economy as a whole and try and balance it as best as you can. I think what we try and do at Noah's is we're aware of what's happening in the economy. We're aware of what could happen, I guess, with we're trying to get a VAT decrease and stuff like that. But that's out of our control. What is in our control is our restaurants, what we're buying, the staff, and the overheads to a certain degree. Now, I think for me, I take a view because, like I said, there's certain things that we put in place, like the lockkeeper's lunch and the kids eat free, and there were incentives to get people through the door. And then it's our job once they're through the door, because that's the hardest part, trying to get people to come to you over anyone else, essentially. And why they're going to come there. So that's that. And then I think once they're there, it's our job then to give them the best time that they possibly can have, so that they don't go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or they can come back to you on a repeat basis. And I think whether that's with a deal or whether that's with, or however you feel that it's the right way to market your place or give incentives to your place, then that's that. I'm not saying that's the only way of doing it, but that's just what's worked for us in Noah's. But I go back to your question, sorry, bums on seats. Yeah, I do think it is that. I think for many reasons. I think like we do that lot keepers because it's essentially in a normal restaurant, you start to get busy around about sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock. But if you're able to put 30, 40 bums on seats from 5 o'clock till 6:30, when those people arrive at 6:37, the restaurant's pretty much full. So the atmosphere is lovely and great and buzzing, and staff are moving, everything's moving, food's coming out in front of them. It feels like your restaurant's busy, is creating that atmosphere already. So I think it's a really important element to try and get as many bums and seats as you can to a certain degree without overrunning or compromising what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. Like I went for lunch yesterday with a fellow podcaster, David Miller, and we were in like a food hall, and there was a lot of food options there, and pretty much aside from McDonald's, all the other ones that were busy had like a lunchtime offer on. I think there was a Wagamama's, there was a few local restaurants, there was a Coat, there was quite a few, and I think even if there's a lunchtime deal, even if someone doesn't take it, they'll come in because there is a deal, but they might end up splurging on a nice glass of wine. They might end up saying, well, we're going to have a nice dessert. So it isn't just that they, I don't know, do you see that when you get people in, if they're sort of feeling the vibe, they will end up splurging out on something else whilst they're there? Or is it always, or is it all just different customers?
No, I think you could look at it many ways. Look, it depends, doesn't it? The more reason why we've done it is because we've got 2 kids, and on a Wednesday night, I might get home a bit late, from work. Joey might have had a bit of a stressful day, and I want to pop up something to eat, and I don't want to pay 10 and 12 quid for 2 of my toddlers to eat. It's 24 quid on something that they might not eat. They might eat half it. It might not eat any of it.
Yeah, push it around.
I think that's But if I've gone in and the kids get a meal for nothing, it matters whether they eat it from our personal point of view, but to a cost point of view, it doesn't, does it? And I think, but from mine and Joey's point of view, we can eat for 15 quid. So probably because of who we are, and now you're enjoying it, you're in the environment, the tone's been set, possibly are going to have a starter. We might have dessert. We might have a bottle of wine instead of a soft drink. It depends how you feel, doesn't it, when you go in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you might just go for your fish and chips, but it's serving its purpose at the end of the day. And that don't mean it's not about getting the bums on seat for that moment in time for me.
No.
In terms of like them spending now, it's about setting that tone with that customer to retain a customer for future and word of mouth purposes. Because I think if they come in and say, "Oh, we went down with Noah and Willow and we had fish and chips for 15 quid and a beer, it cost us 45, 50 quid. The kids ate for nothing. It's so nice down there. Staff are lovely. Probably most of our friends are going to go at some point, not tomorrow, but they might pop there in the next couple of weeks, And slowly, the only thing I'd say is on that, I'll be persistent with it. So like, that's something that we won't take away for now. And then you have to use your skill level in essentially as an operator, that the only thing we do for the kids are kids bites. Now, essentially, that usually becomes fish catering. So it's still very good cod, but it's not in the perfect portion. So in theory, all the profit is costed in the loin and the lunch. Yeah. So any trim is essentially free. So when we're making fish cakes from that, you're giving the kids the option of cod bites. It's not that it's a bad offcut. It's just like a little nugget that you can use essentially. So in theory, that's the theory behind it. That's what the customer's seeing. And then what you're doing in the background is using your skill level on the amount of cod that you're going through in your place. You're always going to have a bit of excess there. Yeah. But then how can we utilise that to make that good for the business?
Absolutely.
And essentially, that's what we're doing. So.
And given the location and the square footage, do you ever envisage being able to bolt on a takeaway element? Or have you sort of... I know it's been a discussion, but have you managed to make it go anywhere? Or have you decided not to?
I think, for me, we've gone through the years of having that. So, like, Scottish Shelf originally was a takeaway and restaurant combined. and you were always ticking in the week, and there's the typical Friday, Saturday night you're getting slapped. But so you are in the restaurant as well.
Yeah.
So essentially it was messy.
Comes at the
and
wrong
then
time.
The kitchen wasn't set for it. You got 6 chefs in there, and So what we did is we took, again, this is people, like we were taking probably, I don't think Dad would mind me saying it, doesn't really matter, but I think we're taking like 10 grand on the takeaway. It was a lot of money, yeah. It's a good business in itself to essentially, you could make a half decent living out of that, possibly back then, 10 years ago. But most of that was coming on Friday, Saturday night. Now, when you strip it back from a business point of view, you can cut the cost on product, you can cut the cost on staff, you can then make the environment a lot nicer, you can charge more in a restaurant, and you've got no clog at the door anymore apart from customers wanting to sit. So when you break down the 10 grand into profit and it didn't make sense. So we closed the takeaway there. We opened a takeaway in Moreland Road. That was successful. We sold it now, but that was successful. But again, I think it comes down to what I want to do and what I want to be, and what me and Joey we're more restaurant. Yeah. From the restaurants that we've worked in. Like we trained hard. Like I trained in with Mitch down in Stelios, trained with Nevis in Sabor from opening to gaining 1 Michelin star. I went to Singapore with Marco. I'd opened the English house there. Joey's worked in the Ritz. She did an internship in the Ritz in Singapore. She worked for Jason Atherton. And then she went on to an MMA gym, but for one of the world-class gyms in the world. It's amazing, I think. But I think for me, our roots are in restaurants. And it's not to say that I think takeaways are wrong. Like I think they're fantastic. Yeah. But essentially in a takeaway, I tried to change. This is a good example, actually. When we opened the Oyster Shell, I wanted to do the Great British Takeaway and British Classics in a takeaway form. So it's almost taking restaurants takeaway form, but it didn't work. It doesn't work. The labour's too high. The cost of product is too expensive to put out at takeaway prices. And if you get known for being good fish and chip shop, you sell fish and chips. So we had to reevaluate that business and say, well, we've got to look at bringing fantastic products in and using products like yourselves to then streamline the staff costs and send out amazing fish and chips. And that's what you become known for. So essentially we're frying fish and chips all day, but I love the grill side of things and the sauces. And I like the restaurant, not volume of fish. I like the restaurant side of things. So for me, I think takeaway at Noah's probably won't happen.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because of that reason. I want to focus on being a restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a restaurant takeaway. So.
No, that makes complete sense. So you've been through a lot of stress. You probably still go through a lot of stress. You're a restaurant owner. That doesn't... But there's different levels of stress. What are you doing to, you've got young kids, you've got a young marriage. How are you juggling all this? How do you get home and think, oh, I'm decompressing? Or do you still feel like you're in the thick of it?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I think everyone's different, and how they feel, what makes them tick, what doesn't. I don't know if it's weird. I enjoy days more when we're in the shit, if I'm honest. And that sounds right. I find it a bit, when everything's smooth, everyone's here, everything's on time, everything's perfect, everything that is brilliant from a business point of view. I'm not going to say that, but I do like it when you're up against it a little bit. I would say, I think I look at where we were 2.5, 3 years ago to where we are now. And me and Joey's, our life's progressed really quick, especially the last 5 years. We've bought a house, 2 kids, restaurant. Still travel from Bath every day. So yeah, it's not easy. It's really not easy. She's fantastic. Joey's incredibly talented at what she does, and the front of house point of view. And to be fair, I think the restaurant, we got a fantastic restaurant manager and head chef now, and we sort of manage the place through them more now, and we've got plans for the future of how we're going to streamline things. We're actually going to come back with Dad a little bit and create a hub, but that's another story. But I think we share the load a lot more now. So in the early days, in the first 10 months to 18 months, it was me. I was working, she was with the kids. She would work when she can. We'd work in and around the kids when they're asleep. Quick here, 5 minutes later. And we would argue, you won't argue, but the pressure's there.
Yeah.
And it's stressful, But I was saying now, I've had to learn. I'm very I get very uptight if I'm not fully in control in my head. I don't know where this is. I've got to go and do this. I need to do this. If something's on my mind, I've got to say it. Yeah. If something's happened, I've got to see that member of staff now. Where Joey's very much No, we have management that deal with those situations now. You don't have to go and deal with, and she work the whole list on a Monday and Wednesday with her days through our manager and as a management team to distribute that down. That was one step that I've learned and I started to do as well. I still can't help it some days. Like if I see it, I have to say it. But I guess that just comes with it. But I guess that's the transition from having a team of 6 to then now we're, I think, 20.
Yeah.
So you can't do everything, and you learn to delegate, and you learn to keep an eye on it and never lose touch with it.
Yeah.
But you learn to control it in a different way. So like now, like I would say, if we'd gone back 18 months ago, I probably wouldn't be sat here at 12 o'clock doing a podcast with you, going into lunch service. I couldn't, because I would be worried about what was going out.
Yeah.
But now there's a trust element. We've built the trust. We've built the vision. We've built the staff know what we want. They know the standards. Not to say it doesn't slip a little bit, but you rein them back in when that happens.
Yeah.
And you've got structure now, and we've got a better balance and quality of life now. And that's not because by choice. That comes down to how much money you take in to allow you to have the staff to do that, to then get the business to this point. Like, you can't just, everyone talks about this work-life balance. And I think it can be whatever that family individual wants it to be, to a certain degree. You're controlled and governed by your business. Yeah. It's no different to a kid, is it? Like at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
Even if you go on a holiday, you can't leave it. You can't not think about it.
No.
You can for a few hours, but you're always like, is everything all right? So I think you just learn to manage it better.
Absolutely.
And you learn to manage things better, and you learn to grow, and then you look at situations and you start to look at yourself, self-evaluate. The more you sort of like that, I used to try and run everything from the kitchen. I have to be there. And now, like Dad said, like if you're in the kitchen, you're blinkered. You can't. It's very difficult to evolve.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that done. So like if I look at it the last sort of 6 months, I go in every day. I check all the quality of the fish. I check everything like that. And now I leave the doing to the guys, and I check that. And I don't not do services and stuff. I jump in and jump out. But like we've just now took the terrace over the summer from the restaurant from 50 covers to 80 covers. And now we put a stretch tent over the top. And now we're just in the process of covering that in and heat lamping.
Oh, okay.
Now, if I'm stood behind the pass 6 days a week, being a control freak in the kitchen, then that ain't going to happen. But it ain't going to happen quickly.
No.
But if you look at that from a business point of view, we're now hopefully going to take the restaurant from 54 covers to 80 covers consistently all year round, if it works. So therefore, I'm not saying then you've got to look at it and say, can we open it 7 days a week? Well, that'd be silly, because we're not doing 100 covers on a Tuesday night. But it does give you the option to do corporate events, private events, open it on the weekends. Could be a big difference at the end of the year in gross, in gross sales. So I think that's what I'm learning now. You're learning about how to build a business, not create great things on a plate. And you've got to learn to allow people to hone their skills and come through and develop that. And but from a stress point of view, I mean, like we go out, we love the industry. We like to eat out when we can. We take the kids out. Just go to even the weekend in San Sebastian was lovely. Like to be able to do that and fly with the kids away and eat some nice food and chill out. Yeah, that was cool. And we tend to do that. Good. Like last night I was making pasta with Noah at home. Like that was cool. Like it's just like, what do you want to do? Like just making just simple things. Like the simple things are nice. Like but am I regimented, like 6 o'clock gym, this now I go to minute? No, I don't do that, to be honest. Maybe I will in a few years' time, I don't know. But
do you think the hospitality industry on a wider level is in trouble? I don't think. I think it's as hard as it's ever. I think it's harder now than it's been, and I think. Look, I think it's always going to be a tough industry. I mean, look, how many years have we been in it now? And then our parents before that, and even in the 80s, Dad was saying, it's bloody tough. Yeah. Can't get a chef, can't get this, can't get that, can't get a porter. No one wants to work nights, kids. I think it's very difficult now. I think with social media, the world's become massive, like larger, like so close. Do you know what I mean? So like you can know a place so well before you even go in there. Like, I mean, you go to San Sebastian, you look at all the reels on Instagram, and it's like
you can know the town and where you're going before you've even gone and set foot there, you know. And I think people are making money easier these days and looking for that quick thing. Is to get people to do what we do. You have to find a love, passion, and really love it. If you don't, you're gonna hate it very quickly at the end of the day. I don't. Again, it's very political, isn't it? But with wages and where the economy is and all those factors, it's bloody not easy, is it? I think the national insurance wage. Is that what you mean?
I think all of that. I think one part.
They're all factors.
Yeah, no, they are, and I think one thing, and I don't know, it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, but you mentioned how the food culture, the restaurant culture in San Sebastian. I'm from, I went to Cyprus this year, went last year with a family. Friends have been Spain, Portugal, and they're all talking about the food culture. You go to a restaurant, and yet we have lots of restaurants in the UK, and we have a different dining culture, but obviously I think the governments treat it differently, and I think, the governments... They don't actively discourage it or encourage it, I'd imagine. Well, I guess putting VAT at 20% would discourage it, but whether consumers know that. But I don't know whether it's a chicken and egg situation. Do those countries encourage restaurant eating more so? I don't know. Or is it just in their culture?
I don't know, still. I think it's tough. Look, like, if you talk about, like, Dad, back when he was starting chefing, restaurants were restaurants, and you either at home or you went out for a special occasion, and there was very few. But now, how many restaurants are called restaurants on the high street? I mean, there's loads, but then the way people socialize, the way people eat now, I mean, it won't be unusual for us to pop out because we'll just pop out for something. It's just easy to do that, but you wouldn't do that probably back in Dad's era because you just wouldn't, So, like, but what comes with that becomes a mass market, so much choice, so much diversity that only if you, I don't want to say become the best in that field, but I think all the restaurants that are doing well are still considered to be at the top of their game in their field. So when we talk about fine dining restaurants are not working anymore, I know, like, you've seen like the Gavroshko and all that sort of stuff. That's really sad and not good. But we don't know the real reasons why they went.
I'd agree with
it
that.
Might be that they had enough. Yeah, I think when you look at people like Ramsey, Claire Smith, all the top guys at their game, as far as I know, they're surviving because people want to go to the best. If they're going to spend that money, they want to go to the best to a certain degree. And I think if you look at, let's go into casual dining, let's just go into that because there's many different fields now. But I mean, like, I can only speak for, like, Nevis has made herself become, if you want Spanish food, you go, there's Jose Pizarro, there's Barrett Food, there's things, but I believe she's on a mission that if you want Spanish food in London, you go to her. She's like the queen of Spanish food, But if let's go to restaurants that are like excelling at a decent price point. Let's take Hawksmoor, like that play. Like, I find that's incredible. I guess you would call it a chain now.
It's a group, yeah.
It's a group. Okay, let's call it a group. It's not really a chain, but a group. That the price per head is the steak's fantastic. The food's brilliant. Their service on that volume of business is incredible. Of how they get that through so many staff. You go to Regent Street above, it's like, it must be over 250 covers. Yeah. It's got to be. I don't know exactly how many.
They're huge. They're all huge. Yeah.
It's incredible. So, but they're known to be the best steak in London. Or they got that reputation and further afield now, and they managed to go to America.
New York,
so as far as I know,
and everyone laughed at them when they were going to New York. Everyone was like, "There's no way they're going to sell steak in New York," and they have.
Exactly, yeah. And then you look at like somewhere like Blacklock. Like, I love it. It's known for like the chops, So like, if you want a steak, we go Hawksmoor. You want to go for like some chops and some good meat, go to Blacklock. Like, I think you'll find a way of making things work. If you can, but it's a really difficult question because I've got friends as well who are seriously talented. That it's not happening for them at the moment. Yeah. Again, it's trying to get that light of something to hold on to and then grab that with both hands and push forward. But then staying focused on what you are, because it's very easy to, let's try this, let's do this, let's put this on, let's do this, and then after 3 weeks of it not working, it's not working. Let's do this. Let's try this. I think it's I think it's more difficult than ever. I think wages are not helping. That naturally isn't helping. I think the margins are getting a lot smaller, and that balance between bums on seats to spend per head super difficult.
Yeah,
I think so many factors that were super difficult, and if it was easy, then everyone would be doing it, wouldn't they?
I think restaurants will be having it harder than a takeaway, because obviously the staffing is multiplied by 3 or 4. Your square footage is multiplied by 3 or 4. Your stock holding, you've got wider menus. Your cash flow's tighter. It's interesting because a lot of people in our industry, let's say if we break off fish and chips into its own segment for a moment, they'll say we need lower VAT, but a lot of other countries will have lower VAT for hospitality, but not for takeaways. So things start to get a bit murky.
But I think that's what I'm saying. Like, look, the government aren't going to drop. If they drop the VAT, great, everyone's happy. But they ain't, are they, at the moment?
I've not seen any hints at it.
But let's stop spending our time. Let's get a VAT reduction. Because if that happens, what are you going to do? You're going to go bust. So, for example, I picked up 1 to 2 hake last week, $4.95 a kilo. So to put that into perspective, you're probably paying a kilo fish will give you 2 portions. It's £2.25 for hake direct off Brixton Market, which is beautiful, amazing, local, into your chippy at $2.20 on a 70% margin, $2.25 portion, cheaper than the cod. It depends what you're using, but for what we're using, it's cheaper than the cod. Yeah. We're picking up sardines, super cheap. The red mullet. We're using underrated fish. So, for example, dories. I just picked dories up today for £5.50 a kilo.
I can't believe for 1 minute that red mullet is underrated. What a great
No. But,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Using fish that aren't as known.
Yeah. Fish is done in grades. So
I follow.
Let me give you some. Yeah. So we picked up 3 to 5 John Dory. 300. That's any fish ranging from 300 grams to 500 grams for $5.20. I think it's just $5.25 a kilo. I think it was. So essentially, the top end of that grade is going to be around 260, 270, something like that. Yeah. So that's now cheaper than the cod, but that's John Dory. If you go like a kilo John Dory, you're going to be paying over 15 quid a kilo.
Wow.
But every chef wants to work with this plump, beautiful, amazing picture on the plate. Yeah. I could put 2 of those dories on a plate, be super ample, super amazing, great value for money for half the price. Now that's what I'm saying. You can be diverse and you can use the local fit. That's what we do. I'm not saying this for everyone, by the way, as well. I'm just giving an example of what we're doing.
If people practice their knife skills and learn how to fillet these fish a bit more, that would give them a bit more scope, is what you're saying.
I just think if you, I'm talking from a restaurant point of view. I don't know with takeaway. Restaurant's my game, and that's that. I can have a view on takeaway. Again, we could be here for another hour to talk about that. But I think with in terms of restaurants, instead of putting a chicken burger on or beef burger or this or that, why not have 5, 6 different types of fish and be proud that you're a fish and chip shop instead of trying to diverse? I'm not saying everyone's doing this as well, but I'm trying to say that there's different ways of diversing. It's different ways of buying fish. It's better value. You're using UK source fish from the UK markets, fresh fish. You're promoting different types of fish for people to try. You're promoting how good fish can be. It's one thing Mitch is doing in Rockfish. Is he's going with that thing as well in Rockfish, and I think it's about the education down that route. And I think it worked. That's where we're. So again, like on the lunch menu, I might buy some fish on the market, like the sardines, to go on the lunch menu, or mussels, or we're doing. I might get a good buy on an undergraded red mullet. Now you can get red mullet for 15 quid, but I can put 1, 2 fish on the plate for 15 because I got an amazing buy on the market that day. Can't do that every day. I give people a chance to try red mullet at that price. So I'm not. At the end of the day, the VAT is not in my control, and what the government do is not in my control. But what is in my control is the stock, the staff, and the overheads to a certain degree. And what is in my control is how am I going to get us to be known to be this?
Yeah.
And if you concentrate on that and focus on that, I think you give yourself. It's not easy, but that's the only thing. That's the only things you're in control of. and that's that, you know.
No,
So.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, Dan, we've covered a lot of ground, and
Sure.
I'm really grateful for your time, and I hope that you keep going from strength to strength. I hope that expanding the restaurant really helps. And you're right, you know, focus on what works, and you know, don't waste time on, you know, fretting on what you can't control. Sort of just get really stuck into what works. And I applaud you and everything you've done. I love your family. I think you're all grafters, and yeah, you deserve every bit of success that comes. And
thank you, Stel. Thanks for having me, mate. Yeah. I could waffle all day, I know. So.
No. Well, absolutely not, mate. And you know, this is what I want. I want people to come on and just talk freely, and I think you've done that. And sure. If someone disagrees, that's fine. If someone agrees, even better. But you know, we're never going to find everybody to agree, are you? It'd be boring.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think today that's what works for me and what happened in my path. I'm not saying it's right for everyone, but that's just my view. And thanks for the opportunity for letting me do that as well.
No, fantastic, mate. We'll have you on again, no doubt. And that's a wrap with today's episode with Daniel from Noah's in Bristol. Now, if you haven't been, you really should go soon. I've been a few times. It's just great, you know, great food, great location. If you're ever passing, you should pop in. Or if you're not passing, make a beeline. It's always good, and Dan's always great. It's just a real pleasure of mine to bring these episodes to you guys. The conversations, sharing the mic with people that genuinely care about this industry. So if there's anybody you want us to talk to, let us know. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to sign up at the Ceres mailing list. We've got plenty of great competitions, offers and festive surprises coming between now and all the way up to Christmas. It's the easiest way to stay connected. You get access to deals and you'll never miss any news or a podcast. As always, we're here to help your business thrive with great products, proper support, real conversations. Until next time, take care and thank you again for listening.